Okay, hi guys. My name's Andrea. I'm the seizure coordinator here at Joliet LEDA. Thank you so much for joining us today. Right now, before we begin, we wanted to share a quick announcement about our upcoming event called Lunch with LEDA. This is going to be us visiting local restaurants in the upcoming few months. So the next stop is going to be Tamales Corina, which is a tamales place here in Joliet. So it's going to be on December 10th from noon to 1. So we hope to see you guys there. Please RSVP by scanning the QR code on the screen. And we also as well wanted to announce CEJA, we're still accepting applicants for our free career training for clean energy. This is a free paid training for careers in clean energy that takes place at Joliet Junior College. We're still accepting people. We have a next class starting in January of the new year. So if you're still interested as well, we have a QR code here on the screen as well. All you have to do is be 18 years or older and have a GED to get started. Um, and if you have any questions, feel free to also, I'm going to go ahead and put on the chat the sign in, just so we also have everyone registered on LIDA's end as well. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that if you guys could all fill it out. But thank you so much for coming out here today, especially virtually. I'm going to hand things over to Emily, who is the employer engagement specialist at Parker Dewey.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you all being here, and thank you to LEDA for being a great partner with us today. As mentioned, my name is Emily Kravitz, and I'm one of the employer engagement specialists here at Parker Dewey. I work with organizations just like yours to help you get through and posted projects that we call micro-internships, and I'll talk a lot more about those today. Andrea, before I go further, I recall that there might be a translator working with us today. Is that happening?
No, all attendees are going to be speak only English. We didn't have any Spanish attendees, so no need for today. But thank you, Emily.
Okay, sure thing. Just wanted to double check. Okay, so one thing I just wanted to note too is this session is very much focused on you as employers and how we can help you. We'll make sure that we're covering what a micro internship is. We'll talk about how and why it works, and then of course allow plenty of time for you to ask your questions as well. I want to point out that this session today is being recorded, and so we will send you the slides and you'll have access to all that information as well as my contact information for questions moving forward. Okay, so just a quick background as to who Parker Dewey is. And so we have actually been around about a decade now. Since our founding, we are 100% focused on creating real, what we call experiential recruiting opportunities for employers. And we focus on early talent. And we use what's called a skills first framework for seeing these in action. Our strategy is time tested and proven. We've tried a bunch of different things over the last 10 years and feel we really perfect this concept, and we make it really easy for you to understand the data that might be out there as you're thinking about looking to hire talent from your local area and responding to changing needs. So let's dig a little bit more into what we call micro internships. So first and foremost, they are separate from what you might think of as a traditional internship. So they are short-term, they're professional projects, and they're on demand. So there's no difficult process to get them moving. We take out the paperwork hassle and all the friction out of the way so that you can move fast and bring on talent. And so typically we're looking for our micro interns to work with you for about 10 to 40 hours of work. And so that's about the length of time for an average project. And then these are on demand. So it doesn't have to be tied to any sort of program start or finish or a particular time of year. Here we are in the beginning of December. A lot of our college students that we work with nationwide are now on winter break. And so you could post a project today if you wanted to, and have students do work for you during their break, or projects are available year round for students. Because they're typically about 10 to 40 hours of work total, they are still able to fit into a student's regular class schedule or other work responsibilities that they have as well. I'm going to talk a bit about how pay works in just a minute, but we make it very easy with a fixed cost. And I'll talk a little bit deeper about the cost on an upcoming slide. And then there are professional opportunities. So similar what you would bring on to a new hire with dedicated tasks and a supervisor, but much simpler than a traditional, more of a permanent hiring process. So it's really a valuable way for you to not only assess talent that's out there, but bring them on in a quick and easy way to either check things off your list or to consider for future hiring needs down the road. So I promised I'd take a little bit closer look at cost. We make it easy. So typically it's between 200 to 600 a project. We base that on a sort of a standard hourly wage of $20 to $25 an hour. So you can bring a student on. You kind of know upfront what you'll be paying them. And so we'll give you a quick look at what the system looks like for posting. But typically you will, again, like look at the project, and then the student will get to keep 90% of that total cost. And then Parker Dewey retains just 10% of that because the student remains on our books during that entire process. So you don't have to worry about, doing background checks or having an employment application or anything like that. We handle that whole process for you. Micro interns are absolutely able to work with you on site in your business space. But if you're open to remote work, I also wanted to point out a really cool program we have right now where you could potentially post a project for free. We have a partnership with the University of Illinois Chicago, which isn't too far from Joliet. And this is through a partnership that we have with the DeLuca Foundation. And so DeLuca Foundation, actually, the founders are from a similar industry as all of you. This was the founder of Subway. And this individual is really interested in making opportunities accessible for early learners to get them work experience prior to launching their careers. And so because of this generous sponsorship, we now have an opportunity for you to start or try a project for free. So just want to kind of point that out, included a link to how to get some more information there. And when we send you the slides, you'll get all that information as well. But again, I want to make it also clear that we pay the student by the project. So again, I mentioned before that your cost is set up front. Let's pretend that you're looking to bring them on for what you think will be about 20 hours of work. If they finish the project in 18 hours, that's fine. If they finish the project in 24 hours, that's also fine. They'll still get paid the same amount and your costs will remain the same. So I wanted to show you a few examples. We went back into our system and looked at some examples of other projects that we've had in the sort of restaurant or hospitality industry to try to make it very applicable to who we might be speaking with today. So here's a couple of examples. First, we have a fast casual restaurant. They were looking for help creating graphics that would be used for training in the back of the house and having some directional tools. They used their micro intern to create a bunch of different graphics. And so they asked for a deliverable of 5 to 7 graphics and gave them some specific focus areas, and that the restaurant would be able to print them, laminate them, and then use them in the space. We have lots of students that have Photoshop and Canva skills, so this was very desirable to a lot of the students in our system. Another example, we worked with a restaurant perk platform. Those individuals were looking to grow their list of restaurants that were interested in using their tool. And so they brought on a micro intern to help them with lead generation, which left the manager free to kind of handle traditional tasks and sort of their day-to-day and handle what they did best. And then the student was able to work for them remotely to research potential restaurants, but also design the outbound communication that the manager could then take along as well and deploy as needed. So this micro intern was able to get this work done initially, but also create a process in place so that anybody else in the organization could kind of take up the baton and move forward. The student also created a list of leads and did the work to identify complete contact information for all decision makers. A couple other examples that I thought would be relevant. We also were working with a coffee shop, and they were looking for help with creating a social media calendar. And so they were looking for somebody who could not only pre-write some content for them and help them determine sort of a calendar for best times to post. They were also looking for somebody who could take the time to look ahead throughout the year at special events or holidays like the Super Bowl, for example, to kind of pre-program some content to have it available to post. We know that not every business owner is a social media expert, so why not bring in one of our experts in the form of a micro intern who can get this going for you really quickly, and also kind of showed some of the skills that they had leading into it. Finally, we were working with a quick service franchise who needed some help with vendor research as they were looking to bring on a new piece of equipment into their space. And so they did not have to share, and this is something I should point out, is you do not have to share your internal data or systems or software or tools or passwords or anything like that with your micro intern. You can create projects that exist outside of that space, and we have a team available that will work with you to make sure we can make that happen for you. So in this case, the hiring manager did not want to share any access to their internal systems or anything like that. And so they gave them sort of a geographical region for where they wanted them to look for new potential vendors, and then the student got to work. So they had a little bit of direction on where they were looking, but they did not have to have any access to any of the organization's tools or processes or things like that. And then they asked their student to help fill out a spreadsheet with complete contact information so that going forward, once a micro internship was wrapped up, the organization would now have a nice, neat spreadsheet with the proper contact information and even some pricing information if the micro intern was able to find that for them. So there's lots of options there. So how do you get started? It really is easy. I mentioned this before, just 3 easy steps. Really just think about some of these tasks that you want to get done. I'm looking at my own to-do list here in my office. And if I had somebody that I could just say, you know what, I need help with these 3 tasks and get this crossed off my list, I would find a tool like this to be really useful. We all have that list available somewhere, but somehow we can never find the time. And so let one of our micro interns get those items crossed off for you. I just showed you a few examples previously to help you get thinking about some examples of ways that you can get started. Like, could your organization use help with a social media project, or maybe editing a video, maybe updating a training manual for your employees, or even helping to launch a marketing campaign to help drive new customers to your business. I also recently spoke with an employer. This was a good idea. They were interested in having a micro intern help them with planning for a large event. And so they had an event, like a fundraising event coming up, and they needed help with some vendor outreach. They were looking to bring on food trucks to come to this event. And so they had a micro intern kind of connect with food trucks and just took that sort of list of tasks off the manager's plate. And so they could focus on more important things with the event. They did not need to have a large investment of time to get this done. They just needed someone to do it for them. And again, we can help you turn your ideas into projects. We don't want this to feel overwhelming. It just takes a few minutes to get it posted, and we will help you if you're not sure where to start. Even if you just have like a general idea of what you're looking for, we can help scope it into a project for you. Or if there's a job description that you've used in the past for an opportunity where you think there may be some work involved, even just send that to us, and then we can try to help convert that for you. You can always post projects on your own in the Parker Dewey platform at any time, but we will review all your project drafts for you in the system, and we will reach out to you directly if there's any issues or concerns or just feel like we're missing some complete information. We can also work with you to help you review and select the candidates if you're looking for some support there. And then from there, the work gets done, and then you can move on and communicate with your student. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like in just a moment. Also on the slide, just before we transition, sorry, Michelle, we also have a link here to some of our templates for projects that we've used in the past. So you can just sort of search through that library if that might be useful for you. But again, we can work with you one-on-one as well. Okay, moving on. So now you've gone into the system, you have selected a student, and so now you're thinking about what do I do next? What's the step from there? So the first step is once you select the student, we will send you, or whoever the person of contact is from your organization, we will send you the student's name, email, contact information, as well as some best practices and some tools for success throughout the project. We do suggest that you connect with the student for a quick kickoff call, just 10 to 15 minutes of your time to introduce yourself, sort of talk about the process and any issues and deadlines and things for the student to keep in mind. And this way they know who they can reach out to if they need some help. But what if you need some help? And so our team is available to work with you or the student. We will check in with you a few times during the project, but we are always available as well. And then we always have questions about how the student gets paid. And so once the project is complete, again, maybe you posted it for a 20-hour project, they completed it, you're good with the work, you will mark the project as complete, and then the student will get paid. We do process the pay for the student at the end of every month. And then again, once we send you the slides, there are some links here that you can click through for some more information. So here's an example of what the Parker Dewey platform looks like on the inside. You'll see that we're just asking for a few small details here to get it posted. Think about when you're posting what needs to get done, what the deadline looks like for you, and any other relevant details. You can list right in here if the position is going to be remote. Maybe you're going to take advantage of one of those free projects with UIC, or if you're looking to have the student come on site and work with you. And then in the bottom part of the slide here, you'll see the pay. So you'll see based on the estimated number of hours, how much the total project will cost versus what the student will receive. And again, the student is getting 90% of the project cost. Parker Dewey is just retaining the 10% as the student remains our employee and on our books. And then on the next slide, you'll see just a slightly different view here, and you'll see under schools. And so you'll notice here, we just have Eastern University selected here as a university we work with. I do want to mention that we work with 6,000 different universities across the country. So you can post a remote project open to all, or you can choose to spotlight certain schools. And so if you're thinking about choosing a student from the UIC program to take advantage of the free project, this would be where you would select that. But again, we can walk you through that process, no problem. So how might this help you? So first of all, you're getting access, again, through 6,000 different university partners that we work with, you're getting access to emerging talent. So if you're thinking about making a hire now or in the future, you don't maybe have relationships established with different universities, or maybe you do, you're now connecting with students in the way that they want to be recruited. And then again, if you don't have permanent hiring needs, but you just would like sort of a list of always on labor available, this is a great way to have that option for you. It also helps you check things off your to-do list. I wish I had something like this in previous jobs. I wasn't familiar with Parker Dewey until about a year or two ago. And now that I do, I can think of a million ways that I would have used it in the past. It's a minimal time commitment. So there's very little you need to do other than get the project posted and have a quick kickoff call with the student. For the most part, the students are very comfortable working on their own and independently, and then presenting their deliverables to you on time. And then again, you're getting access to young talent. And so you're getting a chance to get some fresh ideas and bring some new energy to your organization and think about different ways that your business might be viewed from, one of our micro interns. So what's next? We make it really easy. I keep talking about that, but you can get posted. You can post it right now. Feel free also to share this with some of your colleagues, some that weren't able to be here today, because as we know, everybody always has that, we should project on their list, or I should. And if you have any questions, I did put my direct email right here. Very easy to find me. I'm at emily@parkerdewey.com. As a reminder, my role is to help you and help employers just like yourselves and answer questions and make sure you're getting connected to the right talent. So I talked really fast. I shared a lot. I'm very happy to answer any questions that you might have today. You can either, in the chat. So keep an eye there.
Emily, I did have a question. Um,
Yes.
I was wondering if you could talk about how these projects are also open to undocumented students slash ITIN holders, and how you guys are very flexible about accepting students of that background.
Yes, we have the student because again, we partner with various universities. The student would go through like the international student channels and partner with their career services office to make sure that they're following whatever procedures that they need to take. And Michelle, please chime in if I'm missing anything. She's got a little bit more knowledge there than I do.
Yeah, hey, this is Michelle, and joining with Emily today. As long as that student has the I-10, I mean, that's kind of what we need on our side for payroll. But like Emily said, we work directly with the students. We direct them to their resources on campus. We can't do any advice or anything like that. And so we're directing them to where they need to be. Once they've got that, they're all set up in the system. And so you can really pick whoever you want to work with, knowing that all of those I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
Also see another question from Christopher. How extensive have the projects been? Grant writing. Yes, grant writing, absolutely could be a project. Again, typical projects are between 10 to 40 hours. They can be longer than that, but we're trying to separate them from a 3-month summer internship, for example. But yes, you can we will stop you if it feels like it's not going to be a fit. So as I mentioned, we have a team behind the scenes that's reviewing every single project that comes through the system. And so if it looks like something that's not appropriate for the level of student that we work with, we'll help you modify it to make sure that it's more accessible. But absolutely, we have students that do all sorts of interesting projects. And if you choose to, like, if you're looking for a skill set that's very specific, you may want to keep it open to all so that you can have access to all the different schools and programs across the country. I was just talking with an employer in Florida who, once they realized that they could do that, they were like, wait, there's actually this really cool sales program at Penn State, a very niche program that they were interested in, that they were excited to have access to. Another question from Kara: what is the term or time frame that students will work for the employer? Again, just between the agreed upon length of the project. So roughly, traditionally, the average projects are between 10 to 40 hours of total work, and you can start at any time. So you could post a project today. You could post a project in January, whatever works for you. We don't have a defined window in which projects need to start.
So a lot of the businesses and organizations joining us today are in the Joliet area. And I just wanted
Mhm.
to re-ask, you said if they wanted to just hire students from one specific school, like for
Mhm.
example, they just wanted to hire students from Joliet Junior College, which is our nearest college, or St.
Mhm.
Francis, which is another university, they're able to just spotlight students from then, right?
Correct. Yes. That's all. And you'll see here, Michelle pulled back up the slide right here on the part. This is a look at the Parker Dewey platform. And here's where you can add in. We just have Eastern University just in here as an example. But you can add in all the schools that you're looking to target from. So if you know that you only want a project that's going to be in person, and thus you can only use students from local schools, this is where you would put in some of those local schools. If you're flexible to any school, that's great. If you want to use one of the free projects that I mentioned, those would be tied to UIC. That would be your closest school for that. And most of those students would likely be remote. There's not, and Kara also asked if there's a limit on projects. There's not. So again, these are low cost, and so it's a way to kind of keep the projects going throughout the year. If you're looking to do the free projects through UIC, you're able to do up to 5 free projects. I do want to mention with the free projects from the DeLuca Foundation, that program is winding down towards the end of the year. There's still funds available, but once the funds wrap up, the opportunity will come to an end. So if you are thinking, you know what, I'd like to take advantage of one of these projects that would be free, I'm looking to work with a student from UIC. We have a link right here, and you'll get the slides and have access to the link. But I would suggest that you post a project sooner than later so that you can make sure you're taking advantage before the funds start to wind down. These are great questions. Thank you. You're all
Yeah.
keeping me on my toes.
Hi, Emily. We have someone here in person who was wondering, they want to hire maybe students from DePaul or UIC, um,
Mhm.
but they were wondering if they would if students like from Chicago would be able to come do internships here in Joliet.
Yeah, I mean, so the short answer is yes. You can have a student from any school come work for you in person. It's just a matter of being able to physically get there. I actually worked for DePaul myself once upon a time, so I know where they're located in the city. And I also know that not all students have access to a car. It just depends on if they would be able to get there through public transit or what that might look like. So that would be, again, if you're looking for an in-person project where they come on site, the student will just have the wherewithal to see where you're located and see if they're able to get there. And you can put in the comments, must have access to transportation or must be able to come to our organization on site. Any other thoughts or questions? And
We
again, oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. We have another question from one of the attendees in person. They're
Mhm.
wondering if these micro internships are able to exceed 40 hours.
They are, yes. You can also post multiple projects for, like, if you're looking to say, like, I need help with an event and I really need the hands of 3 people, not one, you can post the same project and be open to hiring more than one person. Um, but yes, I'm just kind of giving you the average. You're allowed to go over 40 hours. It's not like it all has to be done in one week either. So if you're like, I'm looking for somebody over the course of a month to come spend a few hours a week with us, that would be totally fine.
Michelle here. I'll just jump in and just kind of say to, our platform, Parker Dewey, is serving as the employer of record, and everything we do, as Emily described, is project based, not hourly. And
Hmm.
so because of that, I feel like the longest projects we've done are things around like 6 week engagements. So if you're looking for something sort of bigger and beyond that, we might not be the right fit. You might need more of a traditional internship or a traditional contractor, but our model is specifically set up for these kind of short projects, short turnaround time, and just like Emily was saying, I think the average maybe 10 or 40-hour project, that's a good range for the average amount of hours a student's putting in total. And I would say they're typically due within 2 to 4 weeks. So it's spread out. The students aren't necessarily working set hours. They're working on the project with some flexibility as their schedule allows.
You can also hire the same student for more than one project too. So if you use them for a social media project in January and now it's February and you're interested in having them update a manual because you like their writing style, I mean, you can hire them again for another project. Any other thoughts or any other questions? Okay, well, thank you for being such an engaging audience today. Really appreciate it. Again, we will send you all this information and slides, and you can always feel free to reach out to me directly. Again, just Emily, I'm just typing this in chat. Michelle's filling it up for me. Thank you, Emily at parkerdewey.com. If you have any individual questions or you're like, I'm ready, let's post. I'm your contact person, so feel free. Andrea, anything else that you wanted to add before we wrap up?
No, thank you so much, Emily. I just do want to remind everyone on the Zoom call, I posted the link on the chat. If you guys could please sign in, just so we can have your contact information on LEDA's behalf. Please go ahead and do that now. I put it in the chat. But I want to thank Emily again and Parker Dewey so much for collaborating with us today to make this happen. We have a lot of businesses, organizations, who are really interested in getting some tasks done, specifically from emerging talent. So we're so excited and we hope a lot of people benefited from today's information.
Thanks again for all your time and all your support. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to wrap up the webinar and I'll have Michelle, I think, needs to stop the recording, or maybe I do.